It's motherfucking after dark.
Oh no. Wah, 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 wah.
You're listening to.
You're listening to.
You're listening to.
Y'all are listening to What's Left of the South.
Before my phone dies.
You said you said your phone doesn't die. Mark, okay, Kai, I asked Mark, I was like, Mark, what percentage is your battery? And without giving me a number, he just is like, my phone never dies. I was like, all right. The Goonies and Mark's
Yeah,
phone
because
never die.
I'm on a payment plan. I paid Ryan Reynolds, which I guess is bad now. I guess he's bad, but whatever. Who else am I going to buy a phone plan from?
What does this have to do with your battery?
It's a brand new phone, so it doesn't get below like 50, even if I've been using it all day. But I had to charge my other phone like every 5 minutes.
What's your battery percentage right now, Mark?
94.
I don't
He
believe
charged it before we started.
It's really 49.
No. We're going to do battery check-ins every so often.
Well, Mark, forgive us, but we used to have to. Because we'd end up having to stop recording because your phone would just fucking die.
You would just drop off.
I've used a firm to buy it, so technically it's not mine yet, but do what you gotta do.
Okay.
If someone wants my code, I can get $100 off my bill, and you can get like 30.
Oh, okay.
If you want to help me out.
Mint Mobile. Hey, anyone out there listening wants that Mint Mobile.
By Mint Mobile.
The show is sponsored by Mint Mobile. Oh my God. Anyway, so a lot's happened since we talked last.
It's pretty fucking rusty in here, isn't it?
I know, right?
Too much has happened. We have to go back in the cave.
I'm pretty sure the last time we recorded might have been before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. And then
or maybe around there?
Yeah.
St. Luigi.
Yeah, St. Luigi was I think, did we even talk about that?
No,
it was pre-Luigi.
Oh,
because that was at the beginning of December. Yeah.
Holy shit. January has gone on now for like 3 months, so that's all.
Yeah, true.
That's what it fucking feels
January
like.
will fucking end.
January will not end.
We're gonna wake up on February 1st. It's gonna be January 1st again.
No,
January 32nd.
Don't fucking say that. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh man.
No, I have a concert to go to on February 1st. We better fucking get there.
It's just Groundhog Day, just January 31st repeats
No.
over and over and over until Bill Murray just says fuck it. And I don't know.
Until Bill Murray learns some emotional intelligence. That's how he gets out of it. He learns emotional intelligence.
Impossible.
He levels with Andy McDowell and is like, look, I've been a shithead this entire time, and I've been dating you for like 5 years, but you don't know that. And I'm gonna level with you on what I've done and what I've learned over all this time. And then he finally wakes up the next day. Like that's what it took.
I read bell hooks, and I realize my comedy is outdated and not funny. And my having a 1-800 number for people to contact me for movies is not cool. It's actually really shitty.
Wait, what?
He doesn't got business cards for the long. I don't know if he still does it, but for the longest time, he just had a 1-800 number that he would not give it. Like if you just had to know it, and it was a 1-800 number to call him to get in touch with him about being in a movie. And apparently he missed out on a lot of roles because of it, but he was like, I just if you know the 1-800 number, call it and I'll pick up and we can talk about a movie.
That doesn't check out because he did 2 Garfield movies. How does someone who's doing 2 Garfield
movies? Wasn't he the disease vector in Osmosis Jones as well?
Yeah.
He fell on hard times. But he was
just in a movie that Sturgill Simpson zombie movie.
Oh yeah, The Dead Don't Die. That was a great movie.
Yeah, that probably not just in, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about Bill Murray? Who gives a shit?
Oh God. Okay, so
also I'm in my car, so I can be myself instead of censoring myself.
Oh, we've got.
I can say damn.
Oh no! We have
Oh
Wild
no.
Mark.
Oh no, unhinged.
Yeah.
Unhinged Mark.
All recordings will have to be after darks now because we can't
Because I
trust
learned
Mark.
a cuss word.
Like, I'll have you know, one of my claims to fame when I was in high school, there was a girl who transferred out of going to exclusively private Catholic schools to go to my public high school. And my friends and I taught her how to cuss, and then her life spiraled
yeah.
down from there.
You sent her to hell.
I
I'm
did.
happy with yourself.
I had to pick that girl up from the side of the road where she was angrily walking away from a football player. There was shit going on there. Like, so she was like stomping down. And okay, so this is like 2006. So she was wearing those little like kitten heel mules. It's like flip flops with a kitten heel on it. Just booking it away from the school because she was so mad at him. We had to chase her down and get her to get in the car. Send your kids to public school, please, so that they learn how to like interact with other humans.
We might not even have a public school anymore.
My mythical children I'm not going to have here. Oh, yeah. Education.
Yeah, listen, I'm talking to the 5 people that still know we exist, okay? They might have kids.
We're going to have a comeback. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, we're having don't call it a comeback. We're doing it. Let's go.
Never mind. After that, we've just
That's
sold.
it. Just throw it all out. The whole show is trash.
We're now called the Friendship Podcast. We all just gonna like hear us talk about our lives.
That's the dumbest name I've ever heard.
God, fuck you, Mark.
I'm gonna start playing video games and move to Florida and be with that little group of people.
Fucking what?
Yeah,
Mark, that
Florida is the gamer.
Okay,
hangout.
Okay, that went that direction. Okay, there's a lot of groups of people that live in Florida that you probably don't want to live with, but okay.
Yeah, Kai,
I was
people
unaware.
who live in Florida are bad.
Believe me, I hear it all fucking time. Like I was watching a video earlier, and it was somebody who was reacting to a live that somebody did where this person was having a meltdown, and they were like, there was so much shit happening. But one of the things that came up was like the age of consent for like sexual activities. Right. It had nothing to do with the person who was reacting to it, but they had to like think about like the age of consent and they're like, oh, the age of consent is like 16. They must live in a southern state. And I'm just like, bitch.
Damn.
Oh yeah, I'm sure this age of consent is like fucking 21 in Oregon, right? Is that what this is?
Oh yeah.
We're definitely protecting our kids out here.
Oregon, such a great progressive racist fucking state. God. Never mind. We already everyone knows about our anti-Pacific Northwest sentiment, so Oregon.
So where do we start? Nelson, do you want to talk about, because you told us a couple times, but I don't think we've done it on the show. You want to talk about what happened when you went to Thanksgiving and how you were like gauging people's reaction to the
Jesus Christ
election based on Thanksgiving?
Okay, so normally, I hang out with my conservative family on my dad's side twice a year, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I gauge like the right wing like mentality when I see them. So Thanksgiving rolls around and they were on it. Like they were just, Jesus, good God. Like Trump just won, right? And my the second I walk in, my cousin, who is I wish I could say more on this podcast. Let's just say he is someone who shouldn't like vote for Trump, but he does. He just starts.
Is a cousin who is part of a minority identity that is going to be attacked.
Yeah, let's just go with that for a bit. But there's a lot to that. So also he's on disability. Let's put it that. Let's just say he's also on disability and probably shouldn't be voting Republican. But you know, whatever. Anyway, Um, so he right off the bat is just like blah 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 Republican blah blah blah, and then the highlight of the day is my dad announcing to all of us when they say women get your get fed first, like get your plates. My dad throws his hands up and announces that he's now trans.
Congratulations.
and, and I'm just like sitting there like Jesus fucking Christ. So he's trans. Um,
How does it feel to
my,
have two moms?
my uncle made a pronoun joke about the turkey, which didn't make any fucking sense. So Thanksgiving was rough, but come Christmas, it was just full blown. I forgot what all was said. I'd probably blocked it from my memory. But it was I think you all told me to do this, and I like reminded my cousins that my dad is came out and he gets to get his plate first. And they laughed. But yeah, come Christmas, everyone, my cousins, uncles, and everyone was just like from Joe Rogan podcast to RFK Jr. to Trump to it was oh yeah. Oh, now I remember. Oh yeah, okay. My dad had one of his dead-eyed rants where he like just starts talking to me about politics. And apparently, y'all, I don't know how this came up, but he heard a YouTube video, not a YouTube video of a woman who used to be a socialist in the teachers unions in New York, and now she is not. She's Catholic again. I don't know what but apparently the socialists infiltrated the priesthood and molested kids to make the church look bad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's what happened there. Um, and then Trump's gonna do that, and then deportations and whatnot, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just like, all right, well, it's gotten progressively worse at that side of the family's holiday functions, and so yeah, we're at a point where it's fucked.
I love how like everyone thinks that child molesters and perverts have to like come up with some evil scheme instead of just doing it like they do in reality.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, let's see, let me open my bag of disguises and like sneak into the teachers union.
Yeah,
And
like,
like,
Let me pull out my trans
teacher-
woman in a women's bathroom one versus
Yeah.
my teachers union one versus
Yeah.
my
and this is my
socialist
Vatican one. Like, we're so fucking for real.
Oh my god! It's
Let
just
me
like
study for years in order to like become a figure in a church just to touch kids. Like,
it's
who has the time?
I don't fucking get it. But it's just like this right wing like grift, like this right wing push to like label anyone on the left as like a pedophile. And it's getting disturbing. It's getting
Well,
scary.
the worst thing like that I've seen, like the quickest switch, is that was she a pastor or a bishop that had that church service where she was like, "Can you have an ounce of empathy for
Oh,
anyone?"
I think she was a bishop in the I don't know, Episcopal, the woman who she gave the bishop that gave the thing for the inauguration or whatever with Trump
Yeah,
and all. Yeah, yeah. I don't know
and
what
like
denomination she was, but yeah.
I look, I don't know breeds of cars, I don't know breeds of church people, okay? I had a pastor and that was it.
And a rattlesnake.
Um so whatever they're called. But like uh they're like the news is like calling her so disrespectful and everything. And like it's crazy. It's crazy. These people are crazy. Like, there's no other excuse for someone being so calm and collected. And they're calling her sermon a speech. Like, her speech sucked. Like, well, it's not a speech.
And
Have you
all
been
she's
to church
yeah,
before?
exactly. And all she's saying is like the stuff from the Bible about, hey, love your neighbor and like, we should, take care of your neighbor and refugees and things like that. Like everything, all the good parts of the Bible that, right wingers don't, they like to skip over.
Right. But she didn't say like you dirty bastard.
Yeah.
Like fuck you.
Yeah, she
Like
should
she
have.
was like, "Hey, these people are scared and this is your responsibility."
She should have poisoned the communion wine and been like, you know what? Let's all go out with a
You
bang.
know, it's only Catholics that do that.
Yeah. She
It's
definitely
only
wasn't
the
Catholic.
the pedophiles that snuck into the Catholic Church that do that.
Oh, yeah. Like that was so just like nothing shocks me. Nothing surprises me anymore, the stuff he says, but I'm just like, how is this leap of logic? Like, how do you believe this?
You're half
And
of him
don't remind
somehow.
me. Mark, I went to
That's a
therapy.
curse. Mark, what did he
Mark,
do?
shut the fuck up because I went to therapy to talk about that. That was like one of the main
Genetically.
things. And I worry about that so much. Like I was like driving the other day. I'm just like, because I've been like nervous and like anxious all week. I'm just like, oh my God, am I him? Am I? Is this what he did? Like, am I my dad? And like having this existential crisis. And like driving back to work.
Somehow all three of us have been raised by people who have vastly different, like, I don't know, like internal landscapes. Like the entire land, not just your morals, just the entire internal landscape is different, like 180 kind of different. And somehow we've all turned out the way that we are. I'm pretty sure you're okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think I think I speak for everybody when I'm just like, uh,
I said in the chat, like, I've run out of positivity. I've tried for so long to be like, hey, like, we're going to get through this. We'll find ways. We got to find, we got to keep not just positive, but like keep each other together, like protect each other and everything. And I've run out of positivity and I just want to wallow in being mad for a while. I just want to
yeah,
sit in that for a while. Just let it stew, let it become toxic. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm so tired of trying to hold everything together.
yeah.
Yeah. I let myself have my 72 hours of being like depressed and I'm finally starting to get back to normal.
Is this a is this a regular episode or an after dark?
I
This
think
is an
that we
after
should
dark, but
no
we're
I
making it
public
normal. Yeah.
Oh damn.
because we don't have anything that's been out for a long time. Sanitize what you're gonna say. Just figure out a way to say it, sanitize it.
Uh, I
Like
can't.
I look, if you're being for real, like I almost looked up like the trans lifeline thing. Even though
No,
I
it's not.
knew that logically I was like fine and I was lucky enough to like get everything done like beforehand. And the thing about the passport that I was worried about, which I am doing as soon as I get paid, um, it's I think the wording of it's just really vague and they mean just getting rid of the X for now.
That's what I saw too, and that's what I kind of got from that. But then like, and you have like 30 days before that even goes into effect. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people were saying you can't change your gender marker, and some people were saying they're just doing away with the X. So like, I don't know. I would try it, go for it, and see what happens. If they reject it, they reject it. If it goes through, it goes through, and then you're good for 10 years, and he'll be dead by then.
Hell yeah.
I
That's the bright side to all this, isn't it? Is that eventually
yeah,
this
is
motherfucker
that
will die.
time and McDonald's will eventually kill him. Um,
The same. That
how
was
do I
one of
put?
my I was like doing really good and like being healthy and I was like, fuck it. Two hamburgers and chicken nuggets and a fry. And a
Let's
real Coke.
go. Hell yeah.
Not a Coke Zero. A real Coke.
I guess my thing is, and we've talked about this before, there are people who look like me who live in states that are the opposite of the states that we live in that will say this is the end of the world, and I want to be like, you have nothing really to worry about.
Yeah, like it's not
And
the end of the world for you yet.
yeah, and I'm like, Kai's family is in Florida, right?
Mhm.
You're in Georgia, and I'm in Alabama. If any places are gonna get fucked in the next 4 years, it's gonna be ours. And I'm like, granted, like I understand, like if I was undocumented in a blue state, I would be afraid. But if I'm white in a blue state, you have nothing to worry about, right? The only potential thing that is goes wrong, it's not even that. Like, the only thing that could happen to white people in a blue state is if they somehow, and I don't think this is going to happen, because they've said the Supreme Court has said they're not going to, they wouldn't uphold this. Roberts has said it, and then like it would be a federal abortion ban. Like that would be something that yes would affect white people, right? It would affect everybody. But then like at the end of the day, rich white people and middle class white people could go to Canada or go to Mexico or go to somewhere else and have an abortion, right? But for the time being, if you're white and you live in a blue state, you're gonna be fine. And people who live outside of red states, even outside of the country and like out and like just wherever, and they act like Trump becoming president is going to affect them. Like it's just like shut the fuck up. And I'll never know what it's like to be a marginalized person. But if white people complaining about this like aggravates me, I can only imagine what the rage that you both have felt inside towards the Europeans, the Yakubian devils. Um, because it's just like I just want to roll my eyes. I'm just like, you're gonna be. I have students come up to me and have told me that they fear not just for themselves but for their parents because of their immigration status.
Are
Like,
you? I can't picture on a map exactly where you are. Are you within the 100-mile border?
uh,
Are you within 100
yeah,
miles of the water?
yeah, I know the thing. I don't know.
Mm,
I don't think so. I think we're outside of that. My hometown was definitely in that. I think that we are outside of that because we're about 100 miles.
yeah.
We're 90 or so miles from my hometown, which is yeah. So I think we are. And Birmingham technically is a sanctuary city, but like I've had students come up to me, and
Hmm.
I have like because of their parents' immigration status, and because of their immigration status, and because like this asshole wants to do away with birthright citizenship,
Hmm.
and retroactively for people who were born here to undocumented parents, right? And like that's a fear. You know, white people who have don't have friends or don't have people that count on them who are uh, marginalized complaining about Trump. It's just like if you live in a blue state, fuck off. Like I really don't want to hear what you have to say. It's so annoying because you are all about like uh Kamala and you didn't do anything for the past 4 years and you thought Biden was fine and blah 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 and et cetera, et cetera. And then like, you know, all the things that people are like marginalized people, Muslims, Palestinians, like everyone that tried to be like, hey, like Joe Biden is not going to beat him and like Kamala is not going to beat him. This is not working. Warning, warning, warning. And then when he wins, which everyone should have seen the writing on the wall that he was going to, especially after the assassination attempt, real or not, whatever the fuck you want to believe, um, like everyone should have known this was going to happen. And the crying and the flatulation, whatever the fuck it is,
Yeah.
the
Flagellation.
flatulation. Yeah,
And
Not flagellation.
the
both.
flagellation. Like, oh my god, I am a white person and I am afraid. It was like, congrats, dude. Like, I'm glad that you feel afraid now that like you know what people who are undocumented or in marginalized groups have felt like this entire fucking time. Like, you're fine.
Yeah, my
Um, it's just so annoying.
grandmother, um, she they just came back from the mountains or whatever, and she's like, "We almost got you this Trump shirt that had him in front of the White House and it said "Daddy's home." And she was like, she was joking, but this was when I was in a bad mood. Um, and she said, "Would you have worn that?" And I said, like, everything about what he passed on the first day, like he was in office. And I was like, so 2 out of 3 of your grandchildren are in danger. So no, I don't think that I would have worn it. Because who knows if like the language of that birthright bill is so vague. It's like my brother's dad was undocumented, but my mom's like an American citizen. Does that mean that my brother's in danger, or is it both of your parents, or like, you know,
Yeah.
how do they define that?
Yeah, the executive order is vague. It was like something about the mom, blah blah blah, or the father, blah blah blah. And it's just like, well, make up your mind. Like, but apparently a judge did put a halt on it today, and like a lot of states are suing. Like, and so who knows? I
Yeah.
know anything's possible with this fucking Supreme Court, even though it is laid out in the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, verbatim. If you're born here, you're a U.S. citizen. You can't get clearer than that. But God only knows with this fucking court. So
It's
yeah,
so weird to see like the people. So my dad specifically, people like him who have been super patriotic, who were super patriotic before Trump, and then my dad, I think, is still straddling the MAGA line. He strays into it more often than not. But I always thought up until a point that he would go more for the, you remember Tea Party? Like
yeah.
more on the Tea Party line than the MAGA line, because the MAGA line is totally cool with like just trashing parts of the Constitution and things like that. Whereas Tea Party is all like the founding fathers were the best thing that ever happened and their word is infallible. So
Hell
where
yeah,
does
brother.
somebody like my dad who straddles that line fall when it comes to Trump like signing on the very first day? I basically want to eradicate something from the Constitution. So you've said all this time that the Constitution is like the best thing that this country has, and he's violating it. So which side do you fall on?
Right.
I how do they have like the cognitive dissonance must be so hard to grapple with in these lead infected microplastics just coming out their ears, boomer brains. they just can't
Boom.
Yeah,
they
they skip
can't
over
like
it.
yeah, it's just like, well, this is too hard to deal with, so I'm just gonna pretend like you didn't say anything, like you just
Yeah.
didn't say words.
I'm just gonna erase what you just said out of my memory,
Yeah.
and I'm still right.
I'm just gonna rewind for the past
I don't know
14
why you're
seconds.
mad, but I'm still right. Like,
Fortunate
fuck
son
off.
plays constantly in their brains.
But they're the ones who
But they
were
don't
on
get
like the
it.
Ronald Reagan version of Fortunate
Yeah,
Son.
they don't get it. I should
Oh
have
my
went to
God.
Vietnam. Fucking hell, man. Ugh.
I don't even.
I'm not even in like a. I just want to rant about so many things, but like, I don't
I
know,
know
man.
what's next. Come on, what's next?
There's so many things I want to rant about. If this was like this was an
Well, it's
acting,
like
like
it's all so cartoonishly bad that everyone already knows. Like, everyone already has the same opinion if they have like a brain cell.
Mm.
Like, there's is I don't know, the supervillain like shit. I don't know. It's crazy.
yeah.
So
Anyway,
yippee.
let's have fun, guys. Woo! But yeah, it's just another thing is like, okay, I was talking to somebody about this. The amount of like people on the left that like, okay, this is one thing that like my dad being a like right wing conspiracy theorist, like growing up, right, has taught me. It's like how to spot like right wing bullshit that like tries to peddle itself as like being left, right? So like with Israel, for example, a big thing that I'm seeing from like people who are like new to the left or like new to anti-Zionism is like falling down these like rabbit holes into actual like anti-Semitic tropes about Jewish people in banks, right? And there's so many times that like I've seen quote unquote like bigger creators that are on the left or like on in social media and people sharing like, oh, the Federal Reserve and the Zionists and the blah. I'm just like, this is just repackaged Nazi propaganda, right? And like the amount of times that I've seen uh people fall for like these right wing grifters that try to sound left and when it comes to Israel and whatnot, is just astonishing to me because like we hate Israel because they are a settler colonial entity that is imperialistic and racist and shitty, right? That's committing genocide against the Palestinian people. Uh, People on the right don't like Israel because of the Jews, and there's a difference. And I keep seeing time and time again people falling for the same shit that like my dad would say about like the Rothschild banks and the Jews run the world through the banks and the Rothschilds and blah blah blah, the Federal Reserve. Like they'll post like I saw a meme today somebody shared to me. It was like, what do you think about this? And it was since the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, there have been less wars. Guess who started the Federal Reserve? It rhymes with demonist, arsonist, blah blah blah. It's like it's Zionist, but like the next step from that is that these people believe that the Rothschilds created like the Bolsheviks and created Zionism to destroy the world, and I'm like, that's not real. Um, and I keep seeing it time and time again, like these people like just falling for this right wing bullshit because they think, oh, because somebody's anti-Israel, they must be good. I'm like, no, there are Nazis who don't like the state of fucking Israel because they don't like Jews and they're not good people, right? So there's like one silver lining in like listening to my dad speak for so long because like that I keep seeing it and I'm just like, this is not good. Stop falling for this. So yeah, that's my Nelson's rant for politics. Uh what's up with y'all? What's some positive stuff that's going on? Mark, what are you crocheting?
It's a scrap yarn blanket. So it's bits and pieces from all the yarn that I bought and couldn't reuse because I fucked it up. I'm making into a blanket.
It's not that thing you posted in the group chat that looked like you sewed a
That
sock
was when I was trying to
a dead
recycle the
mouse.
fibers.
That was all right.
That
Okay,
that's something.
I'm gonna default to Kai because I don't
No, I was
crochet,
trying to
right?
drop spin the fibers that I combed out to recycle those tiny like pieces.
Mark, it looked like you
Yeah.
took a lint infested sock and sewed it to a dead mouse.
No, it looks like I
What, Kai?
got
What'd you
something
say? It's
out of
like
the litter
something
box
litter
and then
box.
put it in the washing machine.
uh,
That's what it looks like. And I'm trying my best. I mean, you know, it'll get there maybe. And if not, I'll just use it inside of something. So it's still recycled.
No, I did not call it that, Nelson. All I said was, Mark, honey, what the fuck is that?
Mark, honey, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it looks like something like I could have coughed up.
Wait, Nelson, you need to grab that. That is going to be the show cover for this episode.
What, Mark?
Mark's little yarn
Wait, the
turd.
first attempt or the
Oh
second
yeah,
attempt?
definitely. Hold on, I'm gonna go grab it real quick before he deletes it.
No, okay, so for the people at home,
The people at home will decide because this is gonna be the thumbnail for
The show cover.
the show.
I was trying to
Oh
drop
my God,
spin.
look at it. It looks like something a cat threw up.
I was trying to drop
it's right
spin
next to
my
Kai,
yarn
who-
scraps.
Kai, who
What?
was that when you posted like, Mark, this is you in a few years?
That's my friend.
I
Nelson.
was like, I thought it was Mark. I literally thought
It
it
doesn't
was
look
Mark
like me.
for like
They
a
just have
split
brown
second.
hair.
I was like, Mark dyed his beard. What? Oh, that's not Mark.
No, it's just that I happen to have. Look,
Gay people
was
like
this random
yarn.
gay people,
Who was this random person
non-binary.
you took a picture of?
Shut up!
Queer people like handicrafts. Okay.
like trans masks, non-binary people, queer people, all fit in. Well, they don't fit in. That's the problem. The problem is that they're excluded from everything else in life, and so they all pick up handicrafts. And Mark is quickly turning into one of my friends who I met, who is also trans mask, who moved up north and works in a like handmade yarn shop and does his own drop spindle work and dyes yarn and stuff like that. Like Mark is just on the same track. He's just 20 years younger than this person.
That's what we do.
Wait, who's the
I'm not doxing them on here.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying your friend is 20 years older than Mark. Mark is 20 years. Okay, no, that's Mark. That's Mark from the future where he's moved to the UK but he can't tell you.
I told you I ain't going
him.
nowhere.
No, you do.
Marjorie is gonna have to take.
Mark is gonna die in those hills,
whether
it's by the people who are roaming around
to hear herself.
When the militias
quiet.
come and they're hunting trans people, Mark is gonna lock himself down to that fucking tree out front
with a 6-shooter. Pew 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 pew. Ba, 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 ba. What's
no,
the dude
no,
from
no.
Red
Okay,
Dead?
you're gonna get me on a list if I continue down this avenue.
Who's the dude?
She is gonna have to come get me herself.
Who's the dude from Red Dead? The main guy?
Which one? First one or second one?
First one, the main guy.
John Marston.
Yeah, that's John. Mark's gonna have a 6-shooter, just something like John, tie to that tree, and be like, "From my cold dead hands." Pew 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 pew.
Yeah, when the Pinkertons come to kill him.
When the Pinkertons come.
That's gonna be me. Where he just opens the barn door and there's like 10 Pinkertons. It's gonna be me and Marjorie and her little like 20-year-old she likes to hang out with. They're still okay.
You're gonna have a cowboy hat on.
Wait, I have
chaps.
Marjorie.
You're gonna be like, Dolly made me the sheriff of this here.
They're
county.
chaps. It's called chaps. Chap is what happens to your lips. Chaps. From the Spanish word chaparrillo. Thank you very much. Now get fuck Nelson. Let Mark talk.
That cop that killed that woman because he was responding to that call at Marjorie's house here in Rome. There hasn't been any more news about it. Yeah.
What happened?
Okay. So this police officer.
Mark just goes dark.
Yeah, this police officer, or she comes up behind me. No.
If I saw that face in your window, I'm screenshotting it. Because that would just be a horror movie.
Mark's grandma just walks up right now, right then, be like, "Hey, Mark." He's like, "Ah."
Okay, so this is what happened. Somebody, according to Marjorie, which whole hunk of salt, not a grain of salt. She said that someone swatted her, and so they were sending cops out to her house. And the cop that was responding, that was, I guess, closest, was in his personal truck. So no sirens, no lights, no nothing.
I'm coming, Marjorie!
Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, like, it's my time to shine. I'm going to get these motherfuckers.
Honey boo, I'm coming just in time!
Right. This lady was leaving the same doctor's office that I go to, was turning to go home, had her little dog in the car. He comes and hits her so hard that it kills her and the dog pretty much on impact. And you know what happened to him?
What?
Absolutely nothing. They haven't even released his name. But they just said he was he was off duty in an unmarked vehicle, and he just so happened to hit that lady and kill her. And there's been nothing else. And then Marjorie said that the reason that lady died is because these trolls on the internet want to SWAT her house. and they're the criminals that killed her, not this brave cop. And it's like he shouldn't have been there. Like, how the fuck did he know to like go there anyway if he's in his like what the does she have her own
He's
secret fucking police?
You know what he's doing? He's
Brother.
sitting there, fucking tent in his pants, just off duty, listening to the radio, waiting for something like this to be called in. He's just jacking it, waiting for this.
Yeah, brother.
And then as soon as it happens,
Joe Rogan podcast on blast is like, never made it as a wise man. Just like fucking jacking it, just going, just waiting.
But like he killed a woman,
This is
and I'm
how
pretty
you
sure
remind me.
that the speed limit in that area is like 30 something. And he like obliterated her for nothing. There was nothing wrong. There was no crime being committed.
So liberal
Even if there was a
conspiracy.
crime being committed, he murdered this woman, and there's nothing happening. There's not even like officer whoever who was involved in like civilian crash. It's just like wiped. It's fucking crazy.
that just reminds me, like, this is like, I don't know, maybe this is like the old person in my head. But what Nelson was talking about, how like we don't want to hear from northerners in blue states who are like afraid.
Yankees.
Like, granted, when it comes to cops, this kind of activity can happen anywhere in the US because of how we treat cops and how people like to lick their fucking boots and everything. But there's just that extra bit about Southern policing that
Yeah.
they can just swallow it up. Never happened. That person's just dead. Nothing, like, no cop was involved.
Yeah.
That like Southerners who are used to Southern policing is like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Right on, brother.
Pride in Rome is going to be fun this year.
Oh God.
There's no fucking way I'm walking across the street in that fucking parade. I didn't do it before. I'm definitely not going to do it now. Like, they partition off the road with wooden signs. I don't think so. I'm not going to get. Yeah.
That
These
is a
mother-
recipe
like-
for disaster.
I do not. Of course, I don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, but it's like, do we not like see the signs? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy shit.
Well, since we talked about Nazis earlier, do we want to cover what fucking Musk did?
Listen, y'all.
He's autistic.
He's autistic. He
Oh,
was giving
fucking
them.
joke.
He was giving them his heart. Okay, he's autistic. I had somebody. I don't know if we were mutuals, and she unfollowed me because I was like, Musk is a fucking Nazi, like he's an idiot. But like I was going through my stories and I thought it was a joke, but she was legitimately defending Elon Musk by saying that he has one, she said Asperger's, which is, outdated as fuck. And that he didn't know what he was, and like if you know anybody with Asperger's, you know that blah 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 blah. I'm like, I know plenty of people on the autism spectrum that are not fucking Nazis, but I'm not gonna lie, like the autism community has
Get ready.
been just destroying him, and it's like I'm glad I like rocks autism and not I'm a Nazi autist.
I thought you were about to say something crazy. Never mind.
No, Mark.
Okay, I was getting ready for it. It's like, okay, we need to bleep that.
And it's just been just hilarious. Like it's been like I like my blank special interest, and I'm glad I didn't get Nazi autism. Oh, and then it was like pictures of Nazi Germany. It's like, no, they're just autistic. And then it was like one of Hitler rocking back and forth at the
He's stimming.
He was like Hitler's stimming.
God, it's not cocaine.
He
It's
just
not bad.
invaded. He invaded
stimming.
Poland because he was overstimulated, guys.
They just wouldn't stop.
Oh my god. I don't like, oh my god. I knew
Eugenics
that
was his special interest.
I
Who
knew
knew?
as
Who
soon as
knew?
I saw that salute that he did that people were going to pull the autism card. I knew it because it was an article like several years ago that he came out as autistic. Like we didn't fucking know. Like if you are autistic, you can see it in other people very clearly. Some autistic people are fucked, like him. Like some people are just I am autistic. I'm pretty sure that a couple other people who are involved in this show are also autistic. Somehow we have managed to not become Nazis.
Against all odds.
Against all odds. Raised by conservative parents, we did not, or at least one conservative parent, we did not become Nazis. Oh my god!
Oh my
I
god!
don't fucking get it.
And
Like
the motherfucker did it twice.
Yeah,
the strength with which he threw it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that grunt he did? And it's just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, no wonder Grimes left you.
I think that's also like why there's so much like. I mean, of course, bad people are also transphobic, but I bet he's just coping so hard that like he fumbled Grimes to a trans woman.
It's like the first time I saw it, I almost thought it was AI because it was so clear. It like there was no like, oh, I'm waving to people and somebody caught me at an awkward moment when my arm was at a certain. No, it was so clear.
And the best one is they've done side by sides to those Nazis that marched in Ohio like a few weeks ago, right? And they do the chest hit, boom, arm out, and it's like in time perfectly. It's like
and other Nazis. People who are
Nick
claimed
Fuentes.
and public Nazis are like, oh, he did the same thing we did.
Yeah, fucking Nick Fuentes is like, oh, he gave the Roman salute. That's a Zig Heil. And I was like, Nick Fuentes is a fucking Nazi.
It's for one thing, it's not really a Roman salute. I'm sure Romans have done that at some point. Romans did not have like a normalized salute that they did for. How long was the empire around? Like 500, 600 years? Like,
yeah, something like that.
They didn't have one that they did for the entire.
It was even real.
But like that, the Nazis used the exact same reasoning for why they chose it. They co-opted classical history and they saw that as a Roman thing. So they wanted to appear more legitimate and more ancient. Yeah. So they used what they thought was this Roman salute as their salute. It's the exact same reasoning.
Yeah, because pizza pasta, that pizza pasta guy down in Italy, he did the same thing. He's like, "Mamma mia, I'm gonna do my arm like this and say it's a Roman salute."
If we want our politicians to be Romans, they need to start eating fermented fish sauce. All right, I need to start seeing some garum everywhere, and they need to eat it on fucking everything. They need to fuck each other at seaside villas.
Kiss on the lips,
and they gotta
kiss on the lips.
Kiss on the lip, and they gotta be lead poisoned as fuck.
Yep. And whenever they do like a parade or something, they need to have somebody behind them saying, "Remember thou art mortal," the entire time.
Yes.
All right. I know stories about Roman emperors that curl hair. We do not want our American politicians to be these people.
No.
All right?
No.
We do not need medical treatments that include dog piss and like.
Well, we left the World Health Organization, so we're on the track to
if you mix
get back into that.
lead and wine, it tastes really good, y'all. Let's fucking go.
If you get Boone's Farm and lead.
Boone's Farm, lead, cheer wine, let's fucking go. And then fucking make my horse a senator.
Get plenty of the elder out here.
We don't need masculine gay men who are lead poisoned. We don't red-pilled trad gay men running the country who are lead poisoned. And
all right, so if we're gonna have Trump as Caesar who was, for all intents and purposes, when it comes to the Roman imperial elite, fairly normal. Like, he was a megalomaniac, but compared to what other emperors did, he's fairly normal. Like crazy as a megalomaniac, but not, let's say, fucking, what was his name?
What do you think it was?
Tiberius?
What do you think?
Tiberius,
Tiberius. Oh,
Tiberius, who had an island where he just fucked young boys.
Yeah.
So we had him, then we had Caligula, who married his sister. People think that he might have ripped his sister open, his sister Drusilla, ripped her open and tore out the inbred fetus that was inside of her.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And he
could
fought
have
the sea. Don't forget, he sent the Legion to fight the ocean.
And we could have Nero.
Wait, so who was okay, Kai, real quick question. I'm asking you about Roman history. Was it Nero or Caligula that was normal, but then like I probably got encephalitis and a fever and then just went batshit fucking crazy? Was that Nero?
Nero was generally considered a good emperor for the first bit of his tenure. I think Caligula was as well. Like people really liked Caligula, but it didn't last very long.
Trump is pre-encephalitis, whatever emperor that is.
Well, I don't know. Get this man to draw a clock.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it's so shitty. But somebody posted, this is the note that Biden left Trump, and it was somebody trying to draw a clock that was just completely out of whack. I was like, God damn it, this is so bad. Oh man,
You know, it's the worst shit that like gets under my nerves. But like, all this is bad, right? But like, I was expecting it. But the fucking goodbye message from Biden, where he's like, "They're here, folks.
Y'all are fucked."
Yeah,
we're turning
like,
the
what the fuck
oligarchy.
did you do? Like,
The oligarchy's taking
why are you
over.
acting like you did everything in your power? It's like you're one of them. Like,
The mores of an alley cat.
yeah, like, God.
The only thing that
The
I got from that
oligarch is-
man out of the last 4 years was the TikToks of just clips of him like walking away from like press conferences where he's just tottering away and somebody says something and he turns around and is like, that's that sassy peepaw energy.
Yeah, his
Then
little.
it cuts to Michael
Is that
Bay.
a joke?
the
His little
Michael
smile.
Bay edits with that are the best. It's like, what? This goes directed by Michael Bay. It's fucking great. That reminds me. The rehabilitation of George W. Bush needs to
Oh
be
my
started.
God.
Did you see the thing where
because of
someone
how-
said he had elf-like beauty?
What?
Shut the fuck up. People are standing this man because he's goofy. He like did goofy stuff at Trump's inauguration. Like he shakes
Yeah,
someone's
he's just
hand and
fucking
like,
old.
yeah, he's some old stupid Southern jackass, and he like fucking tapped Obama in the stomach, like, "Hey, champ!" Like I know exactly who's like, oh, hey, champ," and like he's acting funny and goofy at the inauguration. I was like, this motherfucker stole the election, took a national tragedy, invaded 2 countries, ruined them, displaced and killed millions, and then crashed the fucking economy. Like he is horrible.
But I was a little peepaw. Goddamn.
He had the literal devil as his vice president. Oh, he's why we're in this mess to begin with. Why are you liking him?
GW changed the face of American life so hard in the 2000s. I think people who were not even
Mark, you don't
born,
understand.
Now watch this drive.
we're not even going to pick on Mark for this. Okay, people who were not even alive or barely alive during his presidency don't remember that American life, for better or for worse, was so different prior to his presidency. The amount of relaxed kind of like we were coming out of the 90s where shit was actually going pretty okay for the majority of Americans. And then, yes, we did have 9/11 happen, but the choices that he made following 9/11 changed American life so much. They don't understand how private you could be as a citizen. Like, private that you could be before the Patriot Act. Do you remember the fucking Patriot Act?
Oh, my God. You remember, Kai, you remember fucking 2000, the goddamn election is like the hanging chads. He stole the fucking election.
I watched it on TV.
I did too. And it was like, what the fuck? This is my first memory of politics, like in 5th grade. I'm just like, why is this guy that looks like my dad have a sign that says Florida, Florida, Florida. What's a hanging Chad? What the fuck is happening? Why? Why? Now looking back, it's like they stole the fucking election.
I broke my wrist just prior to the election in 2000, just prior to it, and I broke my wrist so bad that I had to stay out of school. They couldn't put a cast on it, so there was a point at which my dad had to go into work to pick up something. He worked at Disney at the time, and he had a dressing room that he shared with everybody. It was like a big, like communal room. And I had to go in with him while he went to pick up something. And they had the election coverage happening on there. And they were explaining what a hanging Chad was. And they were going through the recounts. And it is so seared into my brain, that moment of like, you mean we don't just say like, here are the numbers and there's the president? Because granted, I was fairly young. I didn't know anything about the electoral college. I don't think I would have learned that for like another year or so when I was in school. So to me, it was so like, okay, so we ask everybody says a vote, and then they say the number, and then that's the president. But no, that's not what it's like. You don't understand the amount of bullshit that can happen between when somebody votes and when the president is called. And American life changed irrevocably from that moment on. Do you remember when you could like walk into an airport? You could go all the way to a gate.
Yes, I do.
My granddad was talking about that.
I vaguely remember because we did fly once in 1999 to New York. Bum bum bum. And I vaguely remember life before the TSA, and then TSA came and just fucking ruined everything.
Yep. You would go through. You would go through. So at Orlando International, you would go through security, which was just a metal detector, and you would put your stuff in a dish. There's a little plastic dish. You'd put your stuff in that dish. You'd go through the metal detector. They would probably like scan your belt buckle. They didn't tell you to take off your shoes. You didn't take off your belt buckle. You didn't take off your jackets. You could wear your jewelry. You could wear your watches, your glasses, everything. And then you could just walk all the way up to the door of a gate. You could go all the way. You could sit there all day. If you wanted to waste your day inside an airport, you could do that.
God, I would love that. I love airports. I would do that in Hartfield Jackson if I could. Just go to Atlanta and just like chill in the airport all day.
Those seats are really uncomfortable. Saying as somebody who got stuck there for hours last time, they're really uncomfortable.
Oh man, if I could just fly to different airports and like fly home, I would be happy. I just love airports.
You're a train autistic, but planes.
Yeah. Delta, if you're listening, let me pay me to just fly to different airports.
Boeing maybe. Not Delta.
Let's go. I'm ready to die. Woo!
All right, so we covered the election, we covered Musk, we covered what life is changing. The one thing I'll bring up is the commuting of the sentence for Leonard Peltier. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. The American Indian movement, considered political prisoner for the last 48 years, was finally commuted. The man is 80 now. And he's going to be under house arrest for the rest of his life. So thanks, Uncle Joe Biden.
Yay.
For anybody who's expecting me to talk about this, if you're up on your Native American politics and everything.
I looked into this.
Oh, did you?
I did. When you mentioned I know what you're about to say, I looked into it. It's very interesting.
There's a lot of moving parts to it.
There's so much. It'd be a great Netflix documentary.
It is. There's one on Disney, actually.
Shit.
Yeah. It actually just came out just maybe last month or something.
I think we got an episode.
I don't have Disney Plus anymore.
That's why Joe Biden did it.
Whoever fucking hacked that shit needs to go drown in the Thames.
But yeah, so Leonard Peltier was part of the American Indian movement in the 70s. The American Indian movement was particularly impactful in the 70s, especially in the early 70s. So he was part of a lot of the actions that were happening in the northern Midwest of the United States. I think he was involved with Wounded Knee, the retaking of Wounded Knee, things like that. There was a to condense this incredibly short, there was the murder of two FBI agents who kind of stumbled into Indian country. He was convicted of those murders. To this day, people don't think that that evidence holds up at all. Basically, the government wanted to find one of the stars of the AIM movement to put in jail for the murder of these two FBI agents. So yes, commuting that sentence of something that he didn't do, I believe he didn't do. Yeah, should have been let out. The complicating parts is that there was another murder committed before he was put in, I'm pretty sure, of an indigenous woman named uh Anime Pictu Aquash. She was Mi'kmaq, I think, and she was also part of the movements that were happening in that area in that time. And she was murdered and left at the bottom of a bluff. Um, Now, I have to make sure that everybody understands that nobody is accusing him of her murder. What they are saying is that he, as knowing the people who were eventually prosecuted and found guilty of her murder. Now, these prosecutions happened in 2008 and 2011, I think. So 40 years after she was murdered, those prosecutions happened. Her daughter, Anime's daughter specifically, has been leading the charge, saying that like he knew these people, he knew the information, and he protected them by not saying anything. So if you see like mixed sentiment in the Native community, especially like the activist circles, a lot of the feminist circles, like they range between like, yes, he should be let out, but he knew this information too. He should not have been let out at all. There's people who are on the prison abolition side who are saying like he shouldn't have been in there in the first place, but we still think they had something to do with this. There's a lot of sentiment going around.
Yeah.
I am personally on the side of he should have been out of jail because jail should not exist, especially as a Native American being prosecuted by non-Native American overseers, basically, and that he didn't commit the crime that he was found guilty of. But I also really, really, I'm on the side of Native American feminists pretty much like 99.5% of the time, that we are still under the thumb of patriarchy because of when like the Europeans came over and they brought all that their flavor of patriarchy, and they only want to listen to, if they're going to listen to Native Americans at all, they're going to listen to Native American men, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, yeah. So that happened. I think he was a political prisoner who was finally let out after 48 years. I don't know how much better being under house arrest is for the rest of his life. I think he had either a cancer scare or he has cancer. So, yeah, there's that.
I would love to watch it. It is very interesting because the whole thing was like she was accused of being an FBI informant.
Yeah.
And that he ordered her to be killed. And right,
Mhm.
who and then like somebody also that was convicted like said he interrogated her, like put a shotgun in her mouth or something, or put a gun in her mouth and like questioned her, some crazy shit like that. It was, there's a lot of, and so I've heard the nuance from like in the AIM movement at that time, you have the FBI doing COINTELPRO, like trying to flip people like they did the Black Panthers,
Yep.
and have informants. And under those circumstances, things happen, et cetera, et cetera. And it really reminded me of a story that came out about the IRA when I think it was Boston College, Boston University started after the Good Friday Agreement. Everybody got clemency, right? Everyone got a blank amnesty, right? They interviewed like IRA members that like Gen X and like Boomer IRA members, um, and said that the tapes would only be released after they died, right? And this one IRA member uh, was talking about a famous murder that happened in Northern Ireland where there was this one woman who was a single mother of 10, and she was accused of being an informant for the the RUC, right? And she was killed and left for dead on a beach in Northern Ireland, and they could never tie it back to Gary Adams in the IRA. But the guy on the recording was like, "Oh," and then he was like saying something. Is like, "Oh," and it was like, "Who killed?" I forgot her name, and she was like, "If you want to know who killed her, just ask the fucking head of Sinn Féin," and it was Gary Adams. It was like he's implicating Gary Adams, and like he gave the order to kill this single mother of 10, who was accused of being an informant. And I was just like, that is just so fucking dark. Like, like on one hand, in revolutionary thing, and in like, I'm not the fucking leader of it. I'm not a leader of an organization that's being, hunted by the state, right? That my friend, like, what are getting murdered by the state, etc. And it's just like, I don't know what I would do in any of those situations, but like from the outside looking in, it's just like that in particular was dark. A single mother of 10 just fucking put a bullet in the back of her head and leave her on a beach. Like, you could have told her to get the fuck out, and if you ever come back to Northern Ireland, like something bad, we know where you live, right? You could have intimidated this person and got her to go to England and just be like, if you ever come back, like bad things will happen. Don't ever come back. She probably never would have come back, right?
Mhm.
If she's exposed, she's not going to. Like, even if she was an informant, I don't know if there's any proof that she was or not. Um, I to just intimidate her to leave and don't ever come back. When it comes to that, like again, I'm not. I have no place to talk about what happens inside AIM. It's just it is dark, and it just reminds us that is very when people flippantly talk about revolutionary movements and they talk about these revolutionary groups, that like these things happen. Somebody that you think is your friend could be an informant within this organization. Like they flip what's his face, the guy we all watched Judas and the Black Messiah. They flipped the guy that ended up turning on Fred Hampton because he stole a car, right? And they were like, all right, to get out of this, you're gonna infiltrate and do whatever, and give us the information. It's just like anything. You get stopped for any reason, you're in one of these organizations or you're suspected, they'll beat the shit out of you and they'll be like, you have a choice. You're gonna go to jail, you're gonna go to prison for 25 to life, or you can inform on this stuff. And you think that it's just gonna be like you just relay information, but then like no, you're gonna have to kill people. Like you're gonna have to do stuff that's gonna lead to the deaths of people that you were friends with, etc. So it's just it's if anything, it's those situations or something when people take revolutionary actions in organizations and stuff very flippantly. Like they're like, oh, blah 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 blah. It's just like you're gonna have to make some really tough decisions. Do you do these things? And it's just like it is. I don't know. To me, interrogating her with a shotgun in her mouth and then taking her out in the middle of nowhere and putting a bullet in the back of her head, all on hearsay, it just doesn't sit right. And what really didn't sit right was the fucking like the single mother of 10. They just put a bullet in the back of her head and leave her on a beach. It was just like there's other ways of. I don't know. That's just me. This problem.
There's
I'm not made for that sort of stuff. And it's just like I don't know what I would do in certain moments. But I'm with you, Kai. Like I remember we were talking about it like in the group chat, and I looked it up, and like there was discussion about it on Twitter and Facebook and shit like that. And the people that I follow like gave their opinions and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I like how you said it. I agree with you. I don't think he obviously one should not have been in prison for that, even if he did it, if he did it or not. One, I don't even give a shit. Fuck the FBI. But for the history of settler colonialism and our justice system, like he shouldn't have been in prison for that long because we don't even know if he actually did it or not. Second, it is a black mark on him, especially if he did order that to happen, because it is patriarchal, it is shitty, it is just bad, right? It's just bad optics. You're gonna, as a man, gonna kill and order the death of a woman in your organization. You're already a marginalized group, and then you're ordering the execution of an even marginalized person within that marginalized community. So no, I agree with you, Kai. I was just like, you know what? I'm glad he's out, and now his family can see him and et cetera, et cetera. But like, it's just like,
yeah.
buddy.
Like the when like you were saying, when people who are in safe groups who like to talk revolution, who like to talk real ass action that can change you and your community's lives forever, what I've come up against, and a lot of times this feels like, I'm the token woman of the group, so I'm going to talk about like the soft parts of revolution, where it's like, if you're going to have a revolution like that, you're going to have the most marginalized people among you be victims. That's always the problem, is that if you say that I want to lead this revolution that is going to include violence, it's going to come down upon the heads of the most vulnerable among you. And you have to, if you come to terms with that too easy, you should not be leading the revolution. You're bloodthirsty is what you
Yeah.
are. And this is something that, as we can see, has happened several times, where you have the power in charge will find the people, the vulnerable amongst your population. So we have Annie Mae, who was a woman who was involved in this. We have the woman that you were talking about in Northern Ireland. These are people who probably required social help. Probably, if they could be targeted, if anime had been targeted and had been flipped into an informant, she had to have a pain point that they picked up upon. And if she could have brought it to her people, if she could have brought it to AIM, and AIM would have looked at that and said, hey, we're going to move you somewhere else, we're going to do something safe for you. If they had talked to this woman in Northern Ireland, hey, if you are informing on us, we're not going to take you out, we're going to move you because you've become a liability to us and you have 10 children that you need to take care of, right? We also had the case of Red Fawn Phallus. Red Fawn ended up in very similar situation following the No Dapple stuff in 2016 in the Dakotas. She was accused of being an informant and was given a gun, and she was found with that gun when the authorities were sweeping through. They caught, so when these were happening, they would have scuffles. Sometimes people would get picked out of a crowd, like you usually see at these things, and she was, according to them, found with the gun, and she was put in prison. And if that's the case, if she was an informant, which I don't believe she was, again, we have them deciding that we're going to have somebody who's vulnerable and we're going to have somebody who looks like they're not a danger to the rest of the group. We're going to pick a small woman to put into this situation. If you're part of revolutionary politics, this is going to happen, and you're going to have to make better decisions than just killing them, because it's so hard to like get this across. What are you looking at, Nelson?
Oh no, I found it. I found the information on the woman that I was talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, so it's a Boston College, the PSNI investigation, Boston College tape. So there was Boston College launched an oral history project on the Troubles in 2001 called the Belfast Project, and recorded interviews with Republicans and loyalists about their involvement in the conflict, on the understanding that the tapes would not be released until after their death. Two Republican interviewees, Brendan Hughes and Dolores Price, both now deceased, admitted that they were involved in. Oh, so the woman's name was Jean McConville, and they admitted. Let me see. Where was I? Yeah, Brendan Hughes. They're now deceased, but both they were involved in McConville's kidnapping. Both became diehard opponents of the Good Friday Agreement, and Sinn Féin supports it. Yeah, both became diehard opponents of the Good Friday Agreement, and Sinn Féin supported it. They saw Sinn Féin's president Gary Adams as a traitor for negotiating, etc. After Hughes' death in 2010, some of his statements were published in the book Voices from the Grave. He claimed McConville had admitted being an informer, and that Adams ordered her disappearance. So that I remember hearing that in like a 60 Minutes thing. He was just like, "You want to know what happened to her? Like, ask the president of Sinn Féin." And so apparently, what had happened is that she was murdered. She was killed in 1972. At 38, she was disappeared. And there was something that was really disturbing. Yeah, she was a widow. She was a widower of 10 kids. She was rumored to have been passing information to the British. Oh, here we go. As she was recently widowed, mother of 10, the McConville killing was particularly controversial. Her body was not found until 2003. The crime has not been solved. The police something found that the RUC did not begin the investigation into the disappearance properly until 1995.
See, if you're the like leader of a revolutionary political movement, you need to be prepared to take in those vulnerable people who obviously have a pain spot that the other party can use.
Exactly, because it claimed she had, so the IRA in 1999 the IRA acknowledged that it had killed McConville and 8 others of the disappeared. It claimed that she had been passing information about Republicans to the British Army in exchange for money, and that a transmitter had been found in her flat. Well, no shit, she's a fucking widow, a single mother of 10 kids. Of course
Yeah.
she's gonna need
Right.
money. Like, why aren't you like helping her? Like that's that side of the revolution is like you wouldn't have informants like this if you didn't, help people. Like obviously if you want,
Deciding
yeah, don't
deciding
inform,
to kill
but like,
somebody in that
yeah,
position is bloodthirsty. That is not community care. That is not taking care of the people and making sure that they're on your side and showing that you are the better option. You have the better politics. That's bloodthirsty. That is your gain over anybody's body.
yeah. Some
And
sort of
if
extrajudicial killing needs to be like hardened evidence, like your actions killed somebody like in the organization. That's the only time where like it needs to be hard evidence. But like she's a single mother of 10. One, you should be giving her money, right? If she's supporting your cause, she's a Catholic in Northern Ireland, right? You should
Mhm.
know in the community that she's a recent widower. She has 10 kids. That's expensive as fuck. So yeah, you should be helping her pay rent and get food, etc. Then she wouldn't inform. Then you wouldn't have informants, right? Um, because the British Army is offering her money, like yeah, you got to feed 10 kids. Like are these IRA members going to give me uh money to feed my kids, or the British Army is? Are you going to go to the British Army? Like I know probably people listening are like, and yeah, out there be like, oh, I'd never, blah blah blah. Well, you've never been hungry. You've never had to feed kids. You've never had, somebody offer you something up on a silver platter that if you don't take it, you're going to be homeless or some shit like that, right? So yeah, I mean, I can see why she did, if it was even true that she did that. Um, but like, there's other things that you could think of, like, they could have, pulled her aside and been like, hey, this is a one-way ticket to take your kids to England. And if you ever come back, we can't guarantee your safety. And blah, 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 blah. This, that, and the third, it's done, whatever. Um, I don't know. It just seems a very, it makes it tarnishes revolutionary movements too. If it gets
Mhm.
out that like the IRA, if it had gotten out before the Good Friday Agreement that the IRA had killed a single mother of 10, that's not gonna fucking that you're not gonna win over people killing single moms, right? That's just
Mhm.
not gonna be a thing. Um, right? And there's a number of revolutionary movements where like they've done something that's turned the people against them. Like you can think of Italy during the years of lead, the Brigade Rossi, the Red Brigades, when they kidnapped and murdered the prime minister. Right, he was fairly popular prime minister of Italy. It's just like that kind of turned people against them. And it's just like, you really got to think about what you're doing before you go out and do it. Like I'm pretty sure if AIM knew, I don't know if they did or not. Like if that he ordered the killing of this woman, they probably would have been like, it's not a good look, guys. Not a good look for us.
I have seen in action tribal justice. I have seen it happen. I have seen it happen where nobody gets physically harmed. They are ousted from the group and they're told that if you come back, there's no guarantee of your safety. And it works. That, like, so obviously, Anime had a daughter. This is a daughter that's fighting for
Yeah,
for her story now. So this is a woman who with a daughter. This is a indigenous woman with a daughter who is quite young at the time of her murder, who was taken out and shot and left at the bottom of a bluff. And if that was members of AIM who did that, the two that were convicted 40 years after it happened, if that was AIM that did that, and if that was on the orders of Leonard, there's no saving that. I will not be part of that revolutionary cause. And since I learned about this, probably about 10 years ago, I have very quietly taken my energy away from it, even though it's probably one of the biggest and best known Native American
It's a cool
revolutionary
flag.
spaces. And yeah, everybody
Yeah,
knows the flag.
awesome flag. Yeah.
When people talk about like actions taken by Native American activists that have had real world effects, it's usually AIM.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I have decided to divorce myself from them because that is a tainted group, especially because nobody within the group is saying this is exactly what happened and we did this we committed this crime against ourselves.
It's like somebody on their deathbed needs to be like, this is what the fuck happened. Like,
Yeah.
to give them some closure. Like, especially if you're like in your 80s and dying of cancer. It's just like, at your last, they should be, it's like that one dude. It's like the guy that the IRA member, he was just like, yeah, we did it. I like, this is not going to be released till I'm dead. And the guy probably already had cirrhosis of the liver. I'm just, stereotypes exist for a reason. So like, he's like, I'll tell you, if you want to know who killed her, ask the president of Sinn Féin. Gary Adams.
You know what's weird is that when you were talking about Northern Ireland, I have my Google Chromecast running in the background on my TV, and it shows random like map pictures and like landscapes and everything. And while you're talking about Northern Ireland, it showed a picture of Northern Ireland, the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland.
Ugh.
I love living in a surveillance state.
Uh,
Whatever I want is at my fingertips. I just have to think it.
should we close out, if we're going to talk about that? Should we close out on the TikTok brownout of 2025? Wasn't even a blackout.
That was the weirdest shit.
Oh my! What
President
the what?
Trump.
President Trump.
I call it, so I don't know if anybody else remembers the term. Brownout, it's when you don't have a blackout. It's when the electricity just dips. You ever seen that when the electricity just dips and it almost blacks out and it doesn't come back?
I have a brownout when I consume dairy.
You're fucking gross.
All right.
Clip that, chat.
To keep this nice and friendly, Nelson, I'm going to look you in your digital eyes right now, and we're not going to talk about Red Note. We're only going to talk about TikTok because I don't want to yell about it, and I don't want to hear you talk about it.
Can I just say one thing?
No.
One positive thing. Can I just say one positive thing?
No.
Okay.
I want to talk about the TikTok outage and what's happened afterwards. Well, okay. Look at you. You're bursting. What do you want to say, Nelson? I can see it. It's leaking out of your fucking ears.
No, it's fine. I don't have to say anything. It's just it is funny how for so long the American government has tried to like, and I'm not saying China's perfect. Obviously, there's problems in China. However, I think that a lot of Americans have been fed this propaganda about China that it is still like a very backwards agrarian country where people ride on bicycles. Like I've heard that from boomers, right? They're like, oh, it's, they're riding on bicycles and clay streets and they live in straw huts, et cetera, et cetera. And for so long, we've heard about this great firewall, and we've seen like censorship from the U.S. government and even the Chinese government to like keep us separated, right? And it's just very funny that since people have gotten on this app, people that have never would have known what China looks like have been like, holy shit. These cities are beautiful. The rural areas are actually really beautiful and very nice and lovely. Their electric cars are like make Tesla look like a trash can. And when people in China talk about like the cost of living, and you're in a supermarket in Shanghai and you're like, this is what milk costs, and then American is like, this is what milk costs, and you're like, holy shit, stuff costs so much more over here. And it's just funny seeing like it's funny that an app has made people realize, one, that the propaganda about China that the US has said for so long is not true, that Americans are finding out. And two, that Chinese people are finding out that all the propaganda that their government has said about America is actually true. So that was funny. Yes,
Yippee.
it can and probably would get out of hand. Americans flooding to that app. I haven't posted anything on there, and I just scroll, and I want to learn about Chinese culture, and it's taught a lot. Like I've seen a lot of things, and from what I've seen, for the most part, Westerners on the app have, everyone's been cordial and thankful, and everyone puts up uh, closed captionings when people ask for translations, and it has been a very positive blending of cultures. Obviously, it is probably going to get ruined by Americans, like everything does. But for now, it seems very nice. And I had a uh, person who also teaches high school in China message me and was like, "Hey, this is what we do at our school. What do you do at your school?" And I was like, "This is what I do at my school. What do you do at your school?" And it was just a very nice interaction that probably never would have happened uh, outside of this random event. So,
All right.
yes,
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you for taking that seriously, Nelson. Thank you for
Yes,
talking about it and taking it
yeah,
seriously.
I do. I agree with you, Kai, that it probably will get out of hand and Americans will ruin it eventually. But for right now, we have that very peaceful moment where it's like, oh, cool, this is my culture. Oh, cool, this is your culture. And eventually, Americans will be like, this is my culture too. And it'll be like,
This is
Is that
mine
that
now.
meme? Yeah, that old
this
meme
is
where
mine
it's like,
now.
I made this. I
I
made
made
this.
this.
Or
Yeah,
like
so-
the
Yeah,
dropping
yeah.
Woody and picking up Buzz Lightyear. Like,
Oh my God. But yeah,
Yeah, so-
there's even things about China that I didn't real it's remember okay, I'll give you an example real quick. Remember when you both were like, or Kai, you were like, you didn't realize how beautiful Alabama was until I started posting like pictures of like the woods and the rural. I didn't realize how absolutely stunningly beautiful some parts of China were until like I got on this app. I was like, even the rural parts, like the mountains and the wood, like it's so
the
breathtakingly
the
gorgeous.
drama of like the sheer rock faces right down into like lakes and
Yeah.
rivers and everything. It's incredible.
And
But
the-
yeah, so
yeah.
the reason why I told Nelson I didn't want to talk about it is because this feels like colonizing to me. This feels like colonizing, especially like after TikTok came back up for Americans. Because I have seen Chinese people on TikTok, because again, you can still access Chinese people in some ways on TikTok, say that Americans are on there being rude, expecting Chinese people to speak English when it's a Chinese app for Chinese people, that because of the influx of non-Chinese speakers on this space. And so I'm saying that not just to include Americans, because a lot of people decided to flee there. A lot of people that for some reason thought that TikTok was ending for them, even though they're not in America, fled there as well. But because of the influx of these speakers, the people who code Red Note are getting feedback that a lot of Chinese speaking users find these new people useless. So they're changing their algorithms to kind of put a wall in between the English speakers and the Chinese speakers. And so Chinese people outside of China can no longer access the stuff that they wanted in the first place, that link back to other Chinese speakers.
And I've seen that too, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like, it was nothing against China itself. It was everybody fleeing there and then just like mucking it up for Chinese users.
I made this. I made this.
I made this.
I made this.
But yeah, so okay, we'll talk about the TikTok brownout. What was it, like 16 hours? It was down to
Yeah. I still
like,
can't re-download it.
Oh no.
that's what you get.
You might
I
need to do an
know.
update. Does your phone do auto updates?
Yeah. See, as he's like looking for TikTok, it's still blah 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 banned, and downloads for this app are paused due to current U.S. legal requirements. It's like, oh,
That's it. See, you just shouldn't have like delete like this. Like that's why I said like this feels like a toxic breakup, because before it was even
Just
like
jump
through,
the
you had
ship.
already deleted it. Nelson, this is not the time to start watching videos. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, like Mark and I were on there, like
their cars are so nice.
Mark and I were on TikTok for like 2 hours.
It was like the Titanic.
Like, I'll find you after. I still want to see your video.
I did one last wearing white culture, the TikTok ban. I was like, all right, y'all, this is it.
It was so like I had heard that it would probably come back, but it might take like a month or like 3 months for it to like go through everything that I need to go through. It was so anticlimactic that I basically like I went to sleep because it shut down like in the middle of the night for me in the UK. I went to sleep, woke up, just kind of got through my day before I ever checked TikTok. And by the time I was ready to be like, oh, here I'm in the part of my day where I can like sit down and watch TikTok for a while, it was already back up.
I know, right? Did you guys get the message? You guys got the message too. It was just like, I remember I was, you guys made fun of me because I was looking at my own, I was trying to save like my favorite videos of my favorite TikToks of mine. And I got the, sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the United States. Unfortunately, this means you cannot use TikTok, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, we've gone, it's over. We've gone down with the ship.
And here's the thing, they're still there. Everything is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because my streak with Kai didn't get affected.
Yeah, it didn't even.
I did hear that. I did hear that now. It's more censored. Like people are getting. Yeah, it's turning into another shitty American app.
So
wait. Before.
Uh oh. Okay, Gen Z.
Something I noticed. I followed.
The little thingy.
There's a woman that is like tarot or whatever. And normally I don't watch stuff like that, but I followed her account and I was immediately followed by 3 bots with almost the same username, and I got 2 DMs offering me free tarot readings, and that has never happened before, ever. Like no one's ever messaged me out of the blue or followed me. I had to block 5 bot accounts because me clicking follow on her like triggered this like cascade of like it's weird. Like that's never happened.
I've seen an uptick in bot activity, but it happened before the ban. So my last TikTok, I think, the last one that I actually uploaded, I got so many bot accounts. So okay, I have to start this from my standpoint, my emotional standpoint, because when I was in Florida about a year ago, my tire was flat. I had to go to the local gas station. I was filling up the tire. And my mom was very, very upset. She was in the car with me because a man came out of the gas station and was either videoing me or taking pictures of me. Now, I understand that I am conventionally not an attractive person. I'm a fat person who dresses a little bit weird, squatting down in a gas station forecourt, and that the activity of people like taking pictures and taking videos of stranger has gone through the roof since TikTok has become a lot more popular. And at the time, I had to pass it off so that my mom wouldn't be so upset about this guy. It upset me internally to know that somebody was either perving on me or making fun of me in public. But I passed it off so that my mom wouldn't be upset. I was just like, you know what? That kind of shit happens. And it's been sitting in my head for the last year. Now, fast forward to me uploading this latest TikTok for like 4 years of me having this TikTok account. I never put my face on it. I would never talk on it. And then it was only very recently that I started having my face on these TikToks.
Kicking ass with those book reviews.
Thank you. But yeah, it's only very recent that I started having my face
Coming
on there.
soon to Red Note.
Dear God, I hope they're not reading these books. They're gone.
Mandarin Kai. Ni hao, say.
So knowing that's in my brain, I upload this TikTok that has my face on it, and I start getting weird activity. I started getting a lot of likes from accounts that have like user and then a string of like 10 numbers. Yeah. Lots of them. Mm-hmm. And at first I started freaking out because I'm thinking, because I've heard those stories of like people find something that they find gross or funny or want to perv on, and they share it in spaces so that other people can go see that. Now, there's really dark ways that happens, and I'm not going to get it on here that people like find things that are criminal and put them in other forums so that other people can go see them and perv on them or save them, etc. So that's what first popped up in my mind, is that, so, you know, they see this conventionally not attractive fat woman who's doing things online, and that they have shared my account somewhere, that people who want to stay anonymous are going to come start looking at me. And then after a while I started talking myself down off that ledge, going like, this is just bot activity, because every single one had the same like username, and then like the registered name, you know how there's like a username that you type in and then there's like the registered username that's underneath it. So like my name is Kai on there, but my account name is International Indigenous. So the actual registered names were like Kyle Jenkins 857666, something like that. You know, like all of them had these weird but it was all like the most bog standard white person names that they were using for like registering these accounts. But yeah, like that is the first time I've had this uptick in bot activity ever. Like I've been uploading fairly sporadically, but over the past 4 years, and this is the first time that's ever happened. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. And I have seen some other people say that like it's much more censored, that if they try to share information that has to do with the American government, sometimes they can't share it at all. Sometimes they can't share it to more than one person, because they've been showing messages saying that like they're trying to slow the spread of misinformation or something like that. So obviously TikTok was taken down because of Trump in the first place. Don't forget, he's the one that started all this shit. And then it was saved at the 11th hour by President Trump.
President Trump.
Thank you, President Trump.
So it's quite clear that this is probably like, oh yeah, you guys can keep the app up as long as you make me look good kind of bullshit.
He said he wants 50% of it.
Your generation's savior, Mark, Mr. Beast, is putting in a bid to buy it.
We don't like Mr. Beast.
No, Gen Z loves Mr. Beast.
No, Gen Alpha loves Mr. Beast.
Same thing.
No,
those are little kids. You haven't interacted with Gen Alpha yet.
They're the freshmen. Oh,
I love that video. That's like
getting close to.
He is not a Christian channel. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like saying that Mr. Beast is like a Satanist.
I remember those. It's like, Mr. Beast is Satan, not Satanist.
Yeah.
Because it's like the mark of the beast and all that bullshit.
It was there's something I was. Oh yeah. Real quick. We had somebody so if I post a Bucky's meme, there's always one chronically online needs to touch grass leftist that is like, Bucky's blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, it's a bit for the podcast. Like, it's a thing. Like, who cares? Walmart is just as evil. Like, and you still shop at Walmart. Fuck off. But I posted another like funny Bucky's meme, and someone they came back and they were like, again, I want to remind you that Bucky like wrote a parody.
Again, I want to remind you.
I wrote an essay about like Bucky's like labored stuff or whatever. It's like, yeah, I mean, it probably sucks working at Bucky's, even though you do get paid a lot and good benefits or whatever. It's probably intense. Like, yeah, just like working anywhere, fucking sucks. And I was like, I don't want to fucking read this to deal with it anymore. So I like delete, block, right? I go on to TikTok before he gets banned, and this person had message requested on TikTok and was like, I saw you block me on Instagram. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that means leave me the fuck alone.
How could any leftist like Bucky's? You're now an op. Blah blah blah. Like heart hand emoji. I'm
oh my god!
Shut the fuck up. I think it was a white woman too. I was like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, you obviously don't know anything about the podcast. It's a bit like Bucky's makes me happy. Like, it heals my inner child because I know that like I would have went there and wanted a bunch of stuff and I would have been told no and restricted to what I could have eat. And now I'm an adult and I can go buy a fucking Bucky's jacket and water bottle and be fucking happy. Like, you miserable bitch. Like, I do not give a shit. Like stop.
Mark is pissing himself.
Stop fucking like shitting on things that make people happy. Yes, everything is bad. Everything
is
is
bad
bad.
all the time. And like
Anything you
there
buy,
is
someone
something.
got hurt in the
Look,
process. We know.
I loved Coraline, and look where that got me.
Oh my god!
I loved
Ugh.
Coraline, and look where that got me.
Kai and I
Nothing is safe.
obviously
Nothing is sacred. Everything sucks.
we all read Harry Potter and then we found out fucking J.K.
I didn't
Rowling is
read
an
Harry
evil. Well,
Potter.
okay, you're
That's
Gen
just too
Z.
long
Okay,
and boring.
okay, whatever, Mark. Okay, so Kai and I's generation ended up
Our generation. I
our
did not.
generation. Yeah. Well, my dad read me all the books until number 4, and I saw the movies and whatnot. But that was before we knew that she was a turf, right? Our generation made her a billionaire, and we didn't know. Okay,
And now she
look,
got mold on her walls.
I just hold on a wall. I mean, like every fucking thing that you buy from everything is like someone's hurt in the process. And I'm gonna rant about something when we stop recording. Uh, but like
It's cold as
everything,
balls out here, dude.
nothing. Well, that's your fault, Mark. Nothing is safe. Everything you buy, even if it's fair trade and all this other shit, somebody I guarantee fucking to you is hurt in the process. The cell phone that everyone uses, some poor kid in Africa died mining the cobalt for this
Is there
fucking
a
thing to
picture on
work.
your
Yes, the picture is
Some
us.
poor kid died, and then it's illuminated with Mark. Fucking Red Fair.
It's us at the Red Fair. I swear to God. If I knock on wood all the time. If we get there and it's raining, or there's some reason we can't get to Orlando, I'm fucking crashing the fuck out, and someone's gonna die because I am looking forward to this. So to the point where Mark, I will give you a day's wages to like take another
I got a
day off
raise.
of work. You got a raise? Yes.
Yeah.
Can we stay another day in Orlando?
Well, the only reason that I got a raise is because everyone else got told theirs. And so I messaged all my coworkers in the chat that had my boss, and I said, "Hey, everyone else has been told their raise. Is anyone else's reflected on their Oracle?" And guess what? About 30 minutes later, we all got emails that said confidential in all caps. And mine was misspelled.
Don't
It said,
forget,
"Thank you for all you do."
you are perfectly allowed to talk about your wages with your
Yep.
coworkers.
Yeah, no, me and
Exactly.
well, delete that little.
Oh, clip that chat.
me and my bestie that I work with, we're gonna make the same, and I don't care because who gives a shit. But she's like confidential, and then she spelled the shit wrong. So I was like, I'm definitely not keeping it confidential.
Yeah.
Thank you
So I'm
for
glad-
all you do.
Did you get the raise? Are you getting the hourly wage you thought you were gonna get that you talked about earlier in the chat?
Well, they said it was gonna be raised up to 16. I was making the Nazi number, remember? Which was crazy.
Autism.
It was $14 and you know what cents. And now it's 16.40. So
If it would have been 16.19, that'd have been hilarious.
Oh my god.
but I may get another raise, but I also may not because I told HR my boss sucked. So
They
I
make you
might
the boss.
be retaliated against. Especially since
You heard
Trump's
it here,
getting rid
folks.
of all the DEI shit. They're gonna be like, I don't care that you're trans anymore.
We could fire you now, Mark.
Yeah.
You have to go back to work at Chick-fil-A.
Oh shit.
There was something else I forgot there. I don't know. Yeah, Bucky's. Yeah. And
Yeah, like for
Red Fair.
leftists, they need to understand that everything is touched by capitalism, and capitalism just eats people. Capitalism just consumes humans and the planet and everything, so things are going to get hurt, and we are trying to survive in the same hellscape. All of us are trying to survive in the same hellscape, and it's an American company. Of course you're going to get fucked over if you work there. Of course you are. If you are a leftist, you should understand that. And like, what are you going to do then? If you are a Southern leftist, what the fuck? You're gonna shop at Walmart? You're gonna shop at Publix who's like, oh yeah, we're owned by our employees, but we also like support right wing politics.
Yeah.
Like and like actively allow our pharmacists to discriminate against people. Like,
Yeah.
are you gonna shop at what? Where can you fucking shop?
Where?
Are you gonna find
was started by Nazis, you fuck.
You're gonna find the one little like cooperative that's in a fucking shed somewhere out in the middle of nowhere where it's like
That's
hey,
probably hiding it. That's probably hiding
Well,
an
no, because
abuser.
even the guy with the bees that sells his honey on the honor system had to get those jobs from somewhere.
Exactly. Your leftist co-op, grocery store, food shack, whatever, is obviously hiding known abusers that nobody talks about.
like
That's a fact. Portland,
just
you sons of bitches. Fuck you, Seattle.
calm the fuck down. We are all trying to survive in the same fucking hellscape.
Why don't you go help the Buc-ee's employees unionize? That would actually make
also,
a difference.
It's also gotten to the point where if we're gonna go like, oh well, you shouldn't shop at X, Y, and Z to boycott them, I can see where some of them are like, hey, I do not feel comfortable giving this company my money for these reasons. Like Chick-fil-A. I don't want to shop at Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A does this to queer people.
Yeah, I haven't had Starbucks since October 7th. I gave up my PSL. Okay, I gave up my pumpkin spice latte.
Have we been able to show that boycotts are useful at all in 2025? At all. There's too many consumers and too many people. Things have spread too far to show that boycotts work at all unless it is incredibly targeted, incredibly pinpoint target. So just deciding like, well, I don't want to go to this place for wishy-washy for these reasons. Like it's not hurting them. It's hurting you by shoving you into a smaller and smaller pinhole that you can actually shop and survive in.
Yeah.
Like calm the fuck down.
Yeah. I gave up Starbucks. Okay, okay.
But like
Nelson is carrying the cross on his back by giving up Starbucks.
I'm gonna go to Buc-ee's because it keeps me from fucking putting a bullet in my head or like other people, right? Okay,
so like,
I'm not gonna do what everyone expects me to do because I can go to Buc-ee's now.
Like if we want to talk about how like certain shops are taking advantage of people, we need to start talking about like the monopolies of fucking like dollar stores in rural areas.
Yeah, holy shit.
Like you go into a rural area and there's like $4 stores there that are upselling on too much stuff that like, and these are the only place we need to talk about food deserts. We need to talk about like goods. We need to talk about how like the more rural you go, the more that like feminine hygiene products cost. Like you want to talk about fucking Buc-ee's? Get fucked, man.
Get
all the way fucked.
Oh, that goddamn beaver. I want to be a gas station manager and make 6 figures a year. Let's fucking go. Them managers get paid more than me. I'm a fucking teacher. Like
everybody gets paid more than you, and you're a fucking teacher.
God, that's so
yeah.
fucking true. My drafty ass apartment with that I have to sleep in socks and in sweatpants because if I crank my heat up too high, I get a fucking $250 goddamn electric bill.
You got some blankets you can stuff in some windows?
I do. I got a good blanket. I got my Buc-ee's blanket. And I got my.
No, I mean like so you can like insulate your windows and your door.
Yeah. I need to do some of that with the.
This man has too much ADHD to actually like buckle down and winterproof his windows.
Yeah, it's just like I rather just continue being
cold,
big, and yeah, no, I'm not cold. I turn the heat down low and I just sleep with 2 blankets and I'm fine.
I mean, I live in England and we always have heating fuel crises here, how expensive it is to heat our houses in the winter. Granted, we're not having things happen like in the southern US right now, this winter storm that's just like covered the south in snow.
It's supposed to snow again on Tuesday.
Lord, but like most average people here could not afford to heat their homes to a comfortable degree all winter. It's a very wet country. It's cold for a long time. Your heating has to be on for a long time. I keep mine on average higher than like the average around here, but we also don't heat about half of our house. We've turned off the radiators in about half of our house, and we sleep with multiple blankets. And that's just, that's just what you do. You live in a cold climate. That's just what you end up doing because it would be so god awful expensive to heat the house properly, the entire house, heat it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it
Woo.
fucking sucks to be alive in 2025.
It's fucking.
I know. I
It's
had
just
such
shit.
good hopes. I was like, this year's gonna be great. I'm gonna do so much stuff. No,
No.
my gay ass is gonna stay at home.
No, you're going to come to Orlando, and then we're going to talk about what we do in the fall, depending on if you
Yes.
can get your passport.
Yeah.
But even if you can't get your passport, we're still doing shit. We're still going out this
Yeah.
fall. We're going to have a
We're
cool
doing.
Well,
ass trip this
that's like
fall.
another thing about the passport. One of my coworkers, shut the fuck up. One of my coworkers like saw the like printout on my desk because I was gonna
Think
go
about that
ahead
for a
and
second.
pre-fill it, and she goes, "Oh, are you going somewhere?" And it was so early that I didn't get into my like masking the conversation like brain, and I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to get it done before they change the rules." Instead of just going, yeah, whatever. And she goes, "Oh, well, what do you mean by that?" And I was like, "Well, if I'm not quick enough, I'm probably going to be prevented from leaving the country." Um,
Mark, the international super spy who's
and
being kept
then
under
like
house arrest.
explain to her like about like the fucking order he signed, and she goes, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I just turned around and started doing my work again.
Yeah.
But today is
Yeah.
like the only day like I felt human. Like, so it's okay.
Like the thing is, okay, we're gonna end the show soon because it's been going for almost 2 hours, right? So the thing is, for everybody who's been wondering where we've been for the almost 3 months that we've been gone, shit's rough. Everything sucks. We don't have it within ourselves to be positive about everything anymore. I don't know when we're going to be able to record again because we have to find guests and decide what we're doing and everything.
And
But we're still
two
here.
out of three of us have like dying family members.
Yeah.
They can't-
My
Yeah.
mom has been in the hospital for 3 weeks now. Mark's Poppy has been sick for a very long time with something very serious.
Yeah. So,
Um, who the fuck knows?
yeah, we're trying.
Woo!
But we're still friends and we still love each other and we're gonna see each other
Yeah.
in March. I swear
And
to fucking God.
we're the three best friends that anyone could have. We're the three. I'll fucking crash out. I want to go back to that Mexican restaurant in St. Augustine.
Look, we'll end the call and then we'll talk about what we're doing this spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right, Mark. Do you think?
Um, don't share personal information that's gonna get you in trouble.
Oh, that just reminded me what I wanted to rant about. What,
Real quick.
real quick. We all know that apps steal your data. Okay, you don't have to act like you're fucking James Bond. And
Turn
send me
off your
stuff.
thing on Facebook. Turn off
Yeah,
your thing on
yeah.
Facebook. All those TikToks. Like,
Stop telling me to
go
use
kick
different
rocks.
apps. I know that Mark Zuckerberg is stealing the data, right? If I'm going to tell somebody something sensitive, I'm going to tell it to them in person because guess what? Signal is also not foolproof. You dense motherfuckers. That's how you all get caught. Is you talk about shit on. You got to talk to people in person. I'm sorry that most of the left can't do that, but if you have some sensitive shit, talk to them in person. Mark, I forgot what
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't hear.
Go
What'd you
again.
do? Yeah. Think of something else. Give us
Be
some folksy
nice and do
wisdom.
your best.
Amen, brother.